Hello everyone, welcome to the Adkup Show. Today we are diving deep into a wild ride from the 2008 financial crisis to where we stand now with the woke left and the emerging woke right. We know what's going on with American politics, so without wasting time, let's get into it. First up, before we begin into today's real topic, we need to know exactly what is wokeism in socio-political context. So wokeism is defined as a heightened awareness of social injustices and inequalities, particularly related to race, gender, sexuality, and other identity markers. It's something which is continuously evolving and probably exists on both sides of the spectrum, that is, right and left. So how all this started and became a mainstream trend? Well, for that, let's rewind to 2008. Remember the financial crisis? Banks went belly up, people lost their homes, savings vanished. This wasn't just an economic downturn, it was a trust meltdown. People were angry, and rightly so. They felt betrayed by the big financial institutions that got bailed out while they, the 99%, bore the brunt. That anger didn't just dissipate, it fueled movements like Occupy Wall Street in 2011. And by the way, this movement or protest started after 3 years of the financial crisis. And it was a leftist populist movement. Here's where thousands said, enough. They camped in Zuccotti Park chanting, "We are the 99%," demanding a more equitable economic system. This was raw and direct democracy in action, but also chaotic and without clear leadership. The movement shook the establishment, highlighting issues like income inequality, which scared the pants of big companies. This kind of protest had power to destabilize the state and administration. By the way, this was also the period where we were witnessing stagnation in globalization for the first time in several decades. 2008 literally pushed many economies into stagnation, and those economies never recovered. COVID further accelerated the decline. However, that subject is for some other day. Now, here's where it gets interesting. After Occupy Wall Street, the narrative started shifting. Enter Barack Obama's administration, which had to navigate this sea of discontent. Critics argued that to counter traditional left's focus on economic reforms, which might threaten corporate interest, there was a pivot. The focus moved from class warfare to cultural issues, what we now call the woke left. This was less about restructuring the economy and more about social justice, identity politics, and cultural battles. The argument is that this was more palatable to corporations. They could wave pride flags, talk diversity, and still keep their economic policies intact. Sure, there were economic policies like Obamacare, but the narrative was heavily cultural and social. The traditional left was taken out and woke left was marketed in the society. This brought churn in society, which blurred their focus from real issues to something which didn't exist and has never existed. This was not just a political shift, but also a cultural shift, and most probably it was negative in nature. But like any good story, there's a counter movement. Enter the woke right. This isn't your school conservatism. It's a new breed, adopting some of the left's tactics. Identity politics? Check. Grievances narratives? Double check. But instead of focusing on minorities, they center on traditionalism, national identity, or probably Christianity under attack. This churn was happening along with woke left on the other side of the spectrum. It's a reaction, some say, to a perceived overreach of woke culture in schools, media, and corporation. They have borrowed the playbook but flipped it to their side, highlighting cultural grievances over economic ones, sometimes even promoting their own version of cancel culture. Yes, it is racist in nature and also toxic in many cases, but we can't blame anybody for this reaction. Now, what are the differences and similarities between woke left and woke right? Let's break this down. Similarities are that both use identity as a battleground, engage in cultural warfare, and have a penchant for a dramatic, think cancel culture or virtue signaling. The difference is the woke left pushes for inclusivity and equality across racial, gender, and sexual identities lines, whereas the woke right often frames cultural heritage, traditional values, or religious identity as under siege. Their economic philosophies are polar opposite too, with the left leaning towards more regulations and the right favoring less. Now, here where it gets dicey. The woke right has been noted for targeting India and Indian immigrants, often with a mix of cultural nationalism and economic protectionism. They might cite job competition, cultural delusion, or even conspiracy theories about foreign influence. This isn't just about policy, but about steering cultural tensions, potentially leading to increased xenophobia or discrimination. Now, there could be political reasons behind this targeting. As we know, India refused to sanction Russia, but does this give anyone right to target common people of one particular community? This is where America is getting things wrong. It also shows that there is a decline in America's superpower status. So where does this churn lead to? Well, first is increased polarization as both sides dig in. Political discourse become more about fighting cultural wars than solving real issues. Second is economic stagnation. If cultural battles overshadow economic policies, we might see less focus on systematic changes needed for growth or equality. Third is global backlash. The woke right's push against globalization could lead to more isolationistic policies affecting international relations and trade. This is anyways gonna happen. As we can see, Donald Trump will be pushing for trade war with China through tariffs and various other measures. And the last is social fragmentation. The more we define ourselves by cultural or identity battles, the harder it becomes to unite on common human goals. Now, this will sound very useless for an average left or right woke mind, but there is absolutely no other way around. People have to get together. People have to live and work together. So what's the takeaway? We have seen how economic crisis can lead to cultural shift, how political strategies adapt, and how this adaptation can lead to new form of divisiveness or even unity in many cases. It's complex, it's messy, but understanding these dynamics is key to navigating in our increasingly polarized world. The sad part about all this is that it will continue to increase as the world further gets pushed towards deglobalization. So the question is, what will be the future of American society? Will society get divided into several factions, or will there be some sort of enlightenment? Well, only time can tell that, but one thing is for sure. American society is changing and things aren't like they used to be in the past. Yes, decline is real. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into currents shaping our society. Let's keep the conversation going in comments without targeting any group. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one. Peace out.